Joining us now in studio, he is the head coach of the Evansville IceMen for his weekly segment In the Crease. It is Coach Al Sims, fresh off a game this morning, the annual Education Day game over at the Ford Center, where you guys took on the Indy Fuel this morning. Unfortunately, didn't play out like you guys would hope, as a 3-0 loss to the Indy Fuel. Take us through the game. What was some of the issues that you guys had today?
Well, I think the main thing is putting the puck in the net, and we haven't been able to do that very well all year. Entering the third period, this is every game we've been down by 2. We've managed to come back and won on the road and win, and we've played good third periods. Most of our scoring was in the third, but Indianapolis is a good defensive team. Good goaltending, good defensive core, and I think the one thing is once they get ahead of you, they're very tough to catch up to, because you got to start opening up and give them more opportunities. So I think the key to beating Indy is scoring the first goal, and that's got to be paramount Friday when we play them.
Now, when we spoke last week, we were talking about that Saturday before that game, and I had mentioned that you guys spent a lot of time in the opposing ice at Toledo at that particular game.
Right.
Are you still able to spend a majority of the time in opponent's ice and just not able to finish it up?
Yeah, I think the playing time in each other's zone was probably equal today, but they had a tip-in goal from the point shot, and we hit a post, and things like that.
Right.
That happens to teams that don't score, and we're not getting many bounces around the net that are coming to us for empty nets or easy goals. Every goal we got to work for, and it's been tough. And I think Joe Zarbo's been our best offensive player, but if it doesn't start to come here, we're going to have to change personnel and try to bring some people who have scored in this league in here and try to get them to end the scoring drought, so to speak.
Well, and that may partially answer my question was, I know in practice you work on game plans, you work on schemes, you work on several things, and like you say, work on making sure you have the right personnel on the ice at the right time in changes and things. As far as starting faster, are there things in practice you can do besides putting a foot in their butt to get them, to start a little quicker?
Yeah. I think that, the start energy-wise and playing in their end-wise, everything was good the first 5-6 minutes of the period of the game, and, was happy with it. And, we just couldn't get anything to go in. And, I think you have to play patient against Indy and make sure you're solid defensively until that break happens. And hopefully you capitalize, get them down 1-0. Now they've got to open up a bit to catch up, and we can maybe get a second one. And I think, that's the way you have to go about beating that team. And, power plays are very important. And, we had some opportunities in the power play, had some shots, but didn't capitalize on anything. And, that hurt.
Well, you had your first road trip of the season, back-to-back games. Last time we talked last week before the road trip, a younger crew weren't sure when you take them on the road, not exactly sure what you're going to get. The energy from Saturday night to Sunday afternoon being on the road, and the younger guys kind of maybe first time for that at this level. Was it there? Were you happy with the energy coming into Sunday's game versus Saturday evening?
Yeah, I think 2 afternoon games is very weird for these players. They don't play a lot of afternoon games, and at 3:00 the first game, I think we showed a lot of resiliency coming back from 2-0 down with 1 period to go and scoring 3 goals in the third period. And a lot of younger players, rookies, got their first goal, so that was great. And then going into Sunday's game, we kind of got shorthanded too many times, especially when we got things going offensively and got things going in their zone. We're set back by penalties, and I think we took 7 minors in that game. And you just when you're playing the game almost a quarter shorthanded, it's tough on your energy, because you're using energy to kill penalties and keep the puck out of your net. And when it comes to offense, there's not much left.
Well, that's another big point too, I guess. You talk about afternoon games. This game today was a 9:30 a.m. You drop the puck. And so that means I'm sure the guys are there 7:30, 8 o'clock at the latest. On a normal day, these guys aren't even into their bowl of cereal by 8 o'clock, I'm sure.
Right.
How much a difference does that make? Obviously, it's both teams having to play at that time.
Sure.
But how much of a difference does that make at just being, I guess, there's no other words than just, I don't want to play hockey at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know many guys who want to get, run into the boards at 9:30 in the morning. But, our guys came in, and our practices are at 10 o'clock in the morning, so they're used to skating at that time, but not the intensity of a game, obviously, at that time. And it's like you said, it's the same for both teams. But, I thought our team came out with energy and, really we're flying the first 5-6 minutes of the game. And I thought, I was happy with what we came out with that early in the morning. And Indy was ready to play as well. And, I thought it was a good battle, and it was physical and, like most rivalry games are. And, it was a good game.
Evansville IceMen head coach Al Sims joining us for In the Crease. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3, and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Youth is something that we've discussed for the last couple of weeks, and you talk about this being a young team and kind of the biggest stage that some of these guys have played on at this point in their careers. Is there still an adjustment period for a lot of these guys, or do you feel like you've had enough games now that they should have a pretty good understanding of what is expected in this league?
Yeah, I think they all know how good the league is now. I think a lot of guys have differing opinions about coming to the East Coast Hockey League, but it's a very good league, and a lot of guys have trouble playing who come from Binghamton their first games, and because they're not ready and they're not prepared for the speed of the game. But I think our young guys know what to expect now. They know what they have to do to play in the league and how to play well. But I think still at the same time it's going to take a couple of months till probably December for us to be a much better team with these young guys, because it's going to take time for these guys to see what they can do, what they can't do in the league, and it doesn't happen overnight or in one game or two games. So I think it's going to take some time, but I think the positive is we're going to be a much better team as the year goes on, whether it's next month, next week, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. This team is going to be a lot better than they are now.
Well, there was an announcement, I believe it was yesterday, that you guys did receive a player from Binghamton, Weidman. Is that correct? Weidman, thank you. Tell us a little bit about him and what he brings and what his expectations are with the team.
Well, Alex is a really fast player. Adds more speed to our already fast lineup. But he's a scorer. He can score at this level. He fights at this level. He's not a big guy. I think he's 5'8", very similar to Fawcett, small but very scrappy, and can play the power play point, which is something we're lacking. So we put him on the point today, and it was his first time. We'll get some practice in tomorrow with him. But, he's a kid who can do a lot of good things for you. And, he did well in Binghamton last year at the end of the year, had some points and a fight up there. So I think, Alex will definitely help our lineup.
Now, is he one, too, that any day now he could be called back up to Binghamton? Is that the situation there? Because I know they sent him down to you for whatever the reason being. They needed a roster spot or however that all plays out. You just and you're used to it at this point. You've been in this league now for a year, and you've had obviously plenty of years of experience coaching hockey. This kind of thing happens. So you just take him for as long as you can and hope he's around for a while?
Yeah, I think, we just keep these guys, Matt Zay and Weidman and Rutkowski and these guys, and Carlisle has been called up, and, we're hoping to get him back at some point. Very good offensive defenseman, but, Weidman's here now, and, they want him to play games, and obviously once they go shorthanded up there through injury or whatever, they will be calling one of the forwards up from here or one of the defensemen up from here like they did with Carlisle. So I think Binghamton's getting healthy again this week, and we may see, Carlisle come down, hopefully for Friday or Saturday night. So we'll just see what happens. But, yeah, it's just a matter of a guy going down and somebody's going up.
It amazes me that you can get a guy called down on a Thursday and you can throw him into a game on Friday because it's just,
hockey's hockey.
It's hockey, I guess, at whatever level. I mean, the schemes, I would assume, are similar for each level, and they've got that ability. You don't see that in other sports.
To adapt.
But, you just throw him in there, and it may not start him, but he might find some playing time at some point.
Right.
You guys also, there's an injury I wanted to get to, and you're going to have to help me on his last name because he's French, and it's like a hyphenated name. A back injury to
Benjamin Diud Favel.
Oh, see, it's not that easy for him either. So
that's why I don't call hockey games.
That's why I threw it over to Coach. I let him handle that one.
He would be D-man if we were calling the hockey games.
Take us through what happened there in South Carolina. How long is there a possibility how long he's going to be out?
Yeah, Benjamin, pulled his groin early in the Greenville game and just came to the bench and said, "Coach, can I fight somebody because I'm not going to be able to play anymore. My groin is pulled."
So that's how you get out of it.
And
I just punch somebody in the face.
I said, yeah, sure. At least get. He said I can do something positive for the team that way, and sure enough, he got involved in it. And, we ended up with 5 minutes of shorthanded time because of the fight, because the other kid didn't fight him. But, Benjamin's going to be out. He's on 21-day IR, and that means you're out for a minimum of 21 days. And then, hopefully he'll be good to go after that 21 days is up.
One quick question to get in Coach's head a little bit. If you used the word scrappy earlier with your new sign. If you've got a player, you're looking at two players, both fast, both, quick to the puck. One guy scored 15 goals. But he's more finesse. He's not going to mix it up. He doesn't want to get in the crease, doesn't want to get wrinkled. He's going to shoot the puck and skate away. Don't touch me. The other guy's got 10 goals, but he's not going around anybody. He goes through anything that's in front of him.
Right.
Which player do you want?
Well, I think you take the grittier player.
Okay.
And, if you're going to take a little bit less scoring, that's fine. But I think he's going to give you a lot more of the other things you need in hockey to, finishing checks and back checking, and he probably blocks shots, and he's willing to fight and stand up for his teammates and himself. And, I think there's just a lot of, you want the character guy that, is right there for his teammates. And, there's a lot of finesse guys that can play with, if you have a lot of character guys with them. Mm-hmm. But I think if it comes to a choice between two guys and there's not a whole lot of difference in their play, you definitely go with the grit.
See, that tells me a lot about the kind of team you want to put on the ice. And that's the kind of team that I would want to watch on the ice. Mm-hmm. It is amazing, though, hockey is good character when you smack somebody that goes by you. Any other sport, you do that. They say, man, that kid's character is just horrible.
That guy's a piece of trash.
But that's part of the game,
That's true.
But, that is, and that's why I wanted to ask that question. It does kind of let the listeners know. And if you go to IceMen game, I'm sure you see that. You see a lot of grit on the ice, and you see guys get after it. Yeah. And that's what you want. And so that, good answer.
No, I think,
I don't want to harp on, we talk a lot about fighting, and it's obviously a part of the game, but there's so much more to it. But I didn't get a chance to ask you last week, and I wanted to ask you, before today's game, considering it was Education Day, all these elementary school kids, did you have to tell the guys before the game, if somebody rubs you the wrong way, you're best off just skating away?
Yeah, no, we never really talked about fighting. We got Sam Norro and Vincent Dunn, and guys who are definitely willing to drop their gloves.
Sure.
And I don't think Indy really was into it and challenging anybody really to fight. So it didn't really happen today, but the other games it did happen for Dunn and Norro, and it's great to have those guys because they do step up for their teammates, and they do let the other team know that you're not going to take advantage of us.
I just didn't know if maybe they're, because of the audience in place today, if there was some concern, like and there's kids at games all the time. I get that, and it is what it is. But obviously, with that one being a majority of elementary school kids from all around the tri-state area, if you thought, maybe today's not the day to drop gloves. Let's just go out there and play a good hockey game and move on. So
that is a good hockey game, though.
That is
Sometimes you have to drop gloves.
Trust me.
And I think being part of our game, it's just what's expected.
Yeah. Well, I know when my wife and I take the kids and two guys drop gloves, my 11-year-old son is like, oh, there they go, and it's all it's part of the game, and that's what what I've told him. I said it's okay to do hockey.
I honestly think there are fans and true diehard fans that will have season tickets that buy tickets to see a fight. Right. Same way with NASCAR. There's a lot of people go to NASCAR races hoping for a wreck. You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
But you want to see them crack it up a little bit, Sure. And it's just, as you said, it's part of the game. It doesn't happen just to happen.
Right.
But as far as a fan goes, that fires them right up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they're all on their feet. They love it.
Evansville IceMen head coach Al Sims joining us as he does each and every Wednesday for In the Crease. The IceMen, another loss earlier today. They lose 3-0 to the Indy Fuel, but they get a shot at Indy again. Friday night, you guys have a night game. Friday night, 7:15, the puck drops at the Ford Center. Tickets are available through the Ford Center box office, also through the Evansville IceMen's website, Ticketmaster.com, another place to get them. And then you guys hit the road for a game on Saturday in Cincinnati, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, always a pleasure. We look forward to it each and every week, and we will do it again next week.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.